You thought witches were annoying. Well guys, you're going to be more annoying. This new Warlock build poisons everything. You'll be killing adds with poison passively over time, whilst focusing on other adds gaining instant max health on every kill using a Devour, which your poisoned adds are going to just spread to other adds, killing everything for you, granting you health and infinite grenades, and overall this build is going to just destroy everything. You'll survive situations you really shouldn't be surviving, regardless of the activity, and your rockets are going to deal some serious damage, which you'll also never run out of. But this is an ad clearing poison and ability build designed for all activities, but works easier in, of course, easier activities. So guys, as always, rate, comment, sub and share, because here comes a pretty poisonous build. Now I believe this is the 16th class build video this season, and we're getting quite far with these build videos now, so if you've missed any or you want to see more awesome builds, the playlist to those are linked below. Feel free to check them out if you want, as I do them every week. But now, let's start. So this is your Season 14 Warlock's Poison build, not a Devour specific build, designed for ad clearing in all types of activities. This is a PvE build, but you can take half of this build into PvP and be annoying as hell, but for this build we are sticking specifically to PvE. Now I have covered a Devour build before, which was pretty insane last season, and there are many different types of builds for Devour, but for this one we are using our Poison build with it, because having adds die randomly over time whilst poisoned will give us unexpected max health whilst we focus on killing other things, and this actually is what makes the build insane, because you'll essentially always get max health, especially in easier activities, but if you're in harder activities it will still work just as good, but it'll be a slower process, so don't rush in like a god, because no build can properly achieve that. Well, maybe some. But the way you'll use this build is first run in and place a rift down, then get a kill with your weapon to generate a void elemental well, pick up that well to become charge light twice, which will prep you for a boss DPS later on with enhanced rockets, then use your melee on an ad to activate Devour, then just poison everything with a combination between using Thorn and your melee with the Exotic Arms we'll look at shortly, and literally just destroy everything. Oh, and don't forget to spam those grenades. All of these kills will grant you instant health as well as unlimited grenades and quicker ability cooldown. So taking a look at the loadout, you want to use Thorn, which will poison enemies and deal damage over time, which also introduces Soul Devourer, where absorbing remnants strengthens the mark of Devourer, and you'll use overload rounds if you need to deal with those champions with this weapon, but you want to use an energy weapon that can be used against anti-barrier champions and any heavy rocket launcher, which we'll use for DPS. But if you don't like rockets, use anything you prefer, just make those adjustments as we go along. For the subclass we are using a bottom tree Void Walker, or should I say Void Walker, which comes with Devour, which is actually one of the best subclass perks in the game, and this will activate when you get a melee kill, and then with it activated all kills will generate health, but if you lose the Devour effect you can consume your grenade to bring it back and regenerate your health. And we also have another perk where killing enemies whilst Devour is active extends its duration and recharges your grenade, so this is what makes you have infinite grenades and health, as you can just continuously kill adds to refresh the buff as long as you get one kill every 10 seconds. And 10 seconds is plenty of time to get one kill in any activity, but slot on those vortex grenades because those things are actually good for dealing DPS. Now the exotic armor we're using is the Necrotic Grip, where melee causes damage over time, and we'll get to that shortly as always, but with your helmet mods we are using Radiant Light specifically for the plus 20 strength, but if you don't need this or prefer not to use it then you shouldn't, and should replace it with something like heavy handed or anything that will benefit you more physically, but slot on a hands on for extra super energy on melee kills, as you'll do that fairly often, which you also need to get the Radiant Light second perk, and then your heavy weapons ammo finder for pretty much infinite heavy ammo. For the Gauntlets we are using the Necrotic Grips, or Grip, which damages enemies with poison and increases the damage over time, then defeating a poison combatant spreads the condition to nearby enemies. And note that it says defeat a poisoned combatant, means that you can use your Thorn to poison enemies and then kill that enemy with Thorn, and every ad nearby will get poisoned. Then killing those poisoned enemies will poison more, and so on. Also not to mention that all those ads randomly dying over time will give you health and grenade energy, so this combo is pretty insane. With this though we'll be using Elemental Charge to become Charge Light when picking up Elemental Wells, with our Anti-Barrier mod for our energy weapon, and Momentum Transfer to reduce our melee cooldown when causing damage with a grenade. Now if you need overload rounds on, then slot that on for your Thorn instead. For the chest though, we are using Reaping Wellmaker, the new Season 14 Elemental Well mod, where getting a kill right after using your Rift will spawn a Void Elemental Well, which will give us Charge of Light twice as it matches our subclass, and alongside this we have Concussive Dampener to reduce area of effect damage, which will help us survive even more, and Rocket Launcher Reserves, as we'll need a lot of these as it's our only source for major boss DPS. With the legs we have Argent Ordnance to increase our rocket launcher's DPS with our heavy weapons ammo scavenger mod. Lastly but not least, for the class we have actually another Argent Ordnance mod, which stacks and consumes only 1 stack of Charge of Light, making our rockets kill champs almost instantly in legend activities. And I believe 2 rockets will kill master champions, but correct me if I'm wrong. But regardless, they are still pretty OP, and you want to use it whilst with a team so you have others helping with DPS. But then we have Sundering Blast to cause an explosion when stunning champions. This is great to pair with the rocket launcher or a grenade launcher. And finally, Distribution for reduced ability cooldowns when using your class near enemies. You could also instead use an Unstoppable Void melee mod if you want to, but it's up to you. Now for your stats, the only thing you really want to max out is strength to get your melee back as fast as possible, as this is going to be the only thing that you lack. Although it's not required for the exotic arms to work, it should still work without a charged melee ability, otherwise your recovery is the secondary best option to max for getting your rift back ASAP. With this build, I'd rate it a good 9 out of 10 considering that Thorn is more of a PvP weapon, but it actually surprisingly works really well in PvE when you have a good build setup like this one. But I'd love to hear what you all think down below. But for me, I'd personally take this into master activities and maybe a GM, but I'd have to try it first. Anyway, that is all for this new Season 14 Warlock build using a new Elemental Wells. Next, you should go check out the playlist for more awesome builds like this to use in the end game. But for now, drop a rating, comment your favourite build or what you think of this one, subscribe and share for more, and I'll see you shortly for the next one.